Hello everyone and welcome to Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. My name is Stipo Jeleč, team leader of the admissions team at the International Office. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to welcome you all, our international students of the class of 2020-2021. I'm speaking to you from the auditorium, where the word of welcome or the welcoming event is held every year. Always packed with students, it is such a nice representation of what the start of the new academic year is all about, being together. This university, our university, is a huge part of my everyday life, and the same will go for you too, soon. Yes, it will be different than before. And yes, there is so much we still don't know and you don't know. But rest assured that we are working very hard to be as ready as we can be for a successful start in September. Many of you will have to start online. Some of you from a new home here in Amsterdam at one of our student housing locations, and others from your home miles and miles away. And slowly and in small group, you will be able to enjoy lectures here on campus as well. But anywhere you will be, we will be there with you. And of course, you will be together with each other. Coming from all over the world, you will face different cultures, customs and perspectives. You will be faced with norms and values dear to you, but also those that you will find strange and perhaps uncomfortable at times. Now, this is what happens in a successful classroom celebrating differences and diversity. With more than 25,000 students, we are a modern organization on the cutting edge of academic higher education. Our students are being challenged to ask questions, tackle problems, and place what they have learned in a wider philosophical, ethical, and social context. In general, the teaching style at our university can be described as student-centered. Our professors stimulate students to develop their own opinion through independent and creative thinking. I can only urge you to do so, and I hope that you will. So, we have put together a stunning program for you. We hope after seeing it, you will get a better understanding of what is to come.
Study for the classes, but don't miss life as well. My name is Karya Odabasi. I'm from Turkey, and so far I was living in Istanbul, and for the past year I'm in Amsterdam. When I think about VU, I think the international environment is the first thing that came to my mind, because there are people coming from all over the world, and I think this is a very great experience for incoming students. Education quality is the thing that makes VU special, because throughout my studies I was very happy with the quality of education, the teachers, the assessments, everything. Students can join to many sport activities at VU Sports Centrum, and also many cultural activities in Griffin. I hope I said it correctly because I'm not Dutch. And there are also many student clubs that students can join. ESM, for example, they take you to very affordable trips. So I think I can recommend that. For those who are incoming students who want to connect with Dutch people, I think you should recognize that Dutch people are very straightforward, and I think you need to be a bit assertive in that sense and be open and embrace new experiences. You might feel that Dutch people are not willing to talk to you in class, but when you approach them, they're very open, and I do have close Dutch friends, so they actually help me get accustomed to the culture. So I do recommend that. Go and talk to them. It's nice. It was more lively to study at VU before the corona crisis, because we were coming to school and have our lectures in the wonderful buildings with all of my class. And after the corona, it was a bit of online lectures, but I was mostly doing my research and my thesis, so it was kind of lonely. But with corona, I think everyone needed to adjust, so that's what I did. To the new international students, I think you should recognize that studying at VU and also in Amsterdam is a very great opportunity because of the city itself and because of the school itself. I think you should take advantage of it. Just have fun, enjoy, study for the classes, but don't miss life as well.
Live the international student life to the full. My name is Harry Wels. I'm born in Amsterdam. I was born in Amsterdam, and I have lived as a base kind of address in the Netherlands, but we have moved around quite a bit following my research, mainly in Southern Africa. So we have lived in Zambia for some time, we have lived in Zimbabwe for some time, and in South Africa. What the VU means to me is that I studied anthropology and never left after my studies, so continued to be at Vrije Universiteit. So after so many years, because I graduated in 1987, so you can, if you count, you can imagine that it's already been a long time since I've been here. So maybe I've become a bit of Vrije Universiteit myself. As the university that has given me the opportunity to develop myself intellectually, given and provided the space and intellectual freedom to go where my thoughts led me, and made me basically into what I have become. What international students can contribute is that you sense, as coming from the Netherlands, that how you think about things can differ a lot depending on where you're from. And so it makes you, in a way, more tolerant about different perspectives. And so if you have a good international group of students, that should ideally lead to a situation where you allow for many perspectives to flourish, basically, without truth claims like, you know, this is the perspective and that's the only one that really counts. So I think that, that international students contribute to such a kind of climate. What you learn from international students is that the world is a big place, and that you may think, if you are a Dutch student, that you know what is taking place in the world, and that you can kind of count on what you think about that world, but that isn't the case. And it's especially when you meet other international students that you become aware that how you think depends very much on a lot of contextual factors. Where you were born, how you were raised, and what makes you into who you are. I use the mixed classroom basically to kind of create an atmosphere where I try to foster a kind of tolerance for each other's perspectives, even if they differ to a large extent, and always keep room for the conversation, no matter how kind of opposed your perspectives can be. And I think that is something that the mixed classroom should ideally strive for. Online studying, to be honest, I think that I should advise international students to ask their professor to not only invest a lot of creativity in how to go for online education, but equally try and be creative in finding ways to still meet, because pedagogically online teaching has its serious limitations, and especially if we talk about intellectual development. I think there's a need to literally meet face to face, like we are now talking, and it would be quite different if it would be online. So my tip for students about online education is to ask for, okay, good online education, fair enough, but next to that also exploring other pedagogical avenues. The advice to international students is live the international student life to the full. Amsterdam is a great city in many ways, and student life is, of course, about, to me at least, intellectual development. But intellectual development is not only reading or studying, but it's a complete kind of picture, with the ultimate aim that it all contributes to a kind of intellectual development that makes you into an academic.
And that is, at the end, what a city is about. People creating stories and creating the future together. My name is Geerte Udo and I'm Director, CEO of Amsterdam&Partners. More and better known by the brand Amsterdam. I live in the city already for more than 20 years and I moved around quite a lot of times. So I lived in the center, I lived in West, I lived in the Pijp and now I live in the East Side. To me it's my hometown, but it's also my inspiration. Because like I said, I lived here for 20 years. Before I lived in Copenhagen, I lived in other cities. And the good thing about Amsterdam is every corner has its own story. So if you're up north or here or east or west or in the old city center, there are always hidden stories that you never knew. And these stories are from historical perspective, from 600 years ago, 400 years ago, but there are also stories made every day. And that is, at the end, what a city is about. People creating stories and creating the future together. We think that there are several things that make Amsterdam really Amsterdam. One is just the spirit of freedom. Freedom with respect for each other. But there is a lot of things you can do and you can see and you can experience in Amsterdam by being just who you want to be. And that is one of the things that we're really proud of. And we also should invest together to keep it that way. It's very important to know that we have a very broad offer of culture that you really have to experience. And the diversity in people is not only in the people, it's also in our culture. So we have a lot of historical culture, but also a lot of modern culture, a lot of well-known art, but also a lot of new created art in hidden spots in the city. So that is what you absolutely should know. And use your bike, because we're really a biking destination. Learn how to bike, because you have to stay safe in our city as well. But that is the easiest way to experience. And the good thing is that we're not such a huge city, so it's easy to ride around. And the chance you will get lost is not so big. You can enjoy Amsterdam online, of course, via iamsterdam.com or all the media, social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube of Amsterdam, because we post everyday interesting things about arts, about sports, about festivities, but also in these awkward COVID-19 times, we show you a lot how you can experience Amsterdam online by virtual museum tours, virtual festivals, pub quizzes that are also in English, so there's a lot to do. So check iamsterdam.com for all your questions about living, working, but also experience the city. My message to the international students is that I hope that they open up their eyes, feel free, and will experience the city despite this awkward situation that we're in. It will be a memory of life. So I hope and I wish for them that they open up their eyes, they get in contact with locals, with other unique students, check online what is possible and how we try to be together in this beautiful city. Because when I was an international student, I was very excited and I went to Copenhagen, and I know that you do not know what to expect. The only thing that you know is that it's exciting. And I think it's very important, before you know it, time has passed. So open up your eyes very fast and enjoy for the time that you're here, because it will be a memory for the rest of your life. And also, if you feel alone one day, it's fine, because it's an experience. It's not only sunshine, but it's an experience of life, and you will always look back at it as a huge memory.
It's important that you are engaged with the local culture. My name is Sandra Hasanefendic, and I am going to become a new assistant professor in the Division of Science, Business and Innovation at the Faculty of Science of the Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam. And I am originally from Sarajevo, from Yugoslavia. I have lived and worked and studied in Serbia, Slovenia, Portugal, and now I'm in the Netherlands. So considering the fact that I have been working for the VU for the past 7 years, or since 2013. VU is like a home to me. This is basically a place where I have met amazing work colleagues, where I was given opportunities to actually work both in academia and non-academia, and also where I see a lot of possibilities to grow as a scientist. Well, there are several things that I think about when I think about the VU. The first would be modernity. I think it's a very modern institution, and we are striving towards modernizing our education and research at all times. It's also a very innovative institution, a very dynamic, entrepreneurial, and extremely diverse. And these are really all the elements that we try to push through also in our education and research and work. Well, the VU is a relatively young university if you compare it to other Dutch universities, and it was created in the 1880s, if I'm not mistaken, to perpetuate the freedom of thought and to really stimulate interdisciplinarity and creativity amongst different fields. And that is basically something that is still very much present in the culture and in the tissue of the VU itself today, and that is why I find it very special. International students contribute tremendously to the VU education. In particular, when we look at how they contribute to the classroom discussions, the discussions are extremely lively, they're very broad, because these students bring different cultural viewpoints. They are born and raised in different socio-political and economic contexts, and they see a certain topic and an issue from a completely different perspective than a Dutch student would be that was raised and born in the Netherlands. And that brings a lot of richness to the classroom. The second thing is they also push us as lecturers, you know, because really what we have to do is when you're preparing a lecture, you really need to make sure that you account for such diversity in the classroom and that you capture the essence of it. So that's why the international students are extremely benefit for us. So we learn a lot from international students. It's very important to basically take into account different perspectives that they bring to the table. That is something that pushes our students to think beyond what is a standard for them, for instance, and it challenges them to take into account other people's viewpoints and opinions, and specifically to think about different problems, issues, challenges that we're discussing under different contexts. And that's for students' sake. For the lecturer's sake, and what it has taught me, actually, being an international student and lecturing to international students, it has made me be more tolerant, understanding, and also just be able to really take into account context way more than I have ever taken it into account in my scientific research. I think as for any international student going to another country, it's important that you are engaged with the local culture. I think that we as international students have a tendency to cluster around ourselves or with ourselves, and I think that you need to really force yourself to go to lunches with the Dutch students, to have coffees with them. We as lecturers certainly stimulate that in a classroom. We put them in different and mixed groups, and we support the mixed classrooms approach. But I think that students should really just step out of that comfort zone and push themselves to be more engaged with the Dutch students. First of all, I wanted to say that I find online education and studying online extremely important and something that is completely going to radically or change our education. First of all, it's very accessible. So for people that have internet, they can connect from different remote areas. So it actually enables access to higher education. The second thing is that it allows a lot of flexibility. And with that, of course, challenges arrive. So the tips that I have for studying are the following. If you're studying online, it's really important to basically treat it as if it's a real course. The second thing is to look at the syllabus and really chunk out the elements, put them in your agenda, and know what you have to do when in your calendar. The third thing is to be really accountable. This is a test for your perseverance and your persistence, and it's something that you will need in the future if you will, of course, lead a working life. So be accountable and be persistent in actually studying online. Also, be active. this is really an opportunity to be active whenever you want. You can be in a specific group and answer at 10 o'clock in the evening or midnight, but just be active and be responsive in the classroom, but also in specific groups that lecturers will create for you. And the final part is, I want students to understand that this is a great opportunity to network. So online education will make sure that in your classroom you have students that are currently in China or Japan or in Nicaragua, and they're actually in this classroom that we have created online. So take advantage of that, connect with them, connect with your professors, lecturers. It's actually much easier now than ever to connect online. So I think this is just a great opportunity overall. Well, to international students, I just want them to enjoy, to really appreciate this experience, to learn as much as they can from it, and most importantly, to know that we're here for them. I know that as an international student, you can be relatively lonely and you can feel that you are alone, but that is really not the case. Your professors are there for you, we as lecturers are there for you, the international student advisors are there for you. So if you have any issues, problems, you just want to chat, we're always there and we really care. That's what I would tell them.
Allow me once again, on behalf of the University Board, the faculties, the International Office, Student and Educational Affairs, and every other department here on campus to say, welcome to Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam, your university.